Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. We've got ourselves a Gecko Moria mirror matchup here from this locals this past Monday. And one thing I wanted to start including at the beginning of each video is who won the dice roll, and my opponent does take it here. I know that it's been a little weird, not only for me, but for others on deciding whether they should be taking first or second in some matches. So I do want to start making a little bit better of a, opportunity to clarify that. But big shout out as well to HelloFresh, because they've been sponsoring my stream as of recent. And if you guys do support my content, whether it's through watching these videos on YouTube or checking out the streams, I genuinely appreciate it. And if you want to check out the sponsors that also support me, it means a lot. And get yourself a nice meal kit for the next few weeks. But we are going to hop straight into this match. I've obviously got first. I choose to keep that deck, or excuse me, keep the hand. I was happy with it to start. As you can see, we've got a Perona in hand, which is great. And I'm just going to pass over the first turn, though. I don't believe we needed Sindri or potentially even have it in hand. But my opponent is going to go second. Potentially a great play for brand new or great eruption, depending on what he's looking for here. Just deciding on if he's going to end up cycling that card or not. He does have 2 great eruptions, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to do. And it looks as though he is going to do that. Just use great eruption to cycle out, get a card in trash, but also, potentially get something more useful for the next turn. I'm going to go ahead and swing 6, though, using the Perona to mill 2. I get another Perona into trash, which I'm ecstatic about. Having Borsalino's also great, but I force the trash, and I end up getting a Kuzan out of this. And now a 6K swing is pretty standard, just going to go through. No triggers activated on that one. And now passing it back over, going to 4. This is like always kind of a weird turn, because it feels like if you're going second, you could just play down Kuzan, Borsalino, and swing 5, or you can use Leader Effect, but he doesn't have any Thriller Bark cards, it looks like right now. So we might have got the better end of the early stages of this game. And he is going to use the Leader Effect to trash a Helmeppo, gets really lucky, ends up getting the Perona off the top. Super nice, forcing me to trash a Kuzan, and now a 7K swing, definitely going to take that. Luckily, we have brand new in hand, though. I feel like the turn 3 for, going first is really nice for being able to just play brand new, get a couple cards into trash, and then use Leader Effect as well. And I'm asking him how many cards he has in hand, because I am definitely just going to bring back that Perona again. And lucky for us, we just get a phenomenal brand new hit here. I get a Borsalino to hand, but then also trashing 2 Dr. Hogbacks, which is just amazing. And now swinging 6, I'm just deciding on what I do want to trash. I do end up going with Hina here and getting another Sindri and Absalom into trash. So life is good. Life is good. But we'll see my opponent trashing a Hina as well as countering out of the 6K swing with Suru here. And now he's got 6 Dawn to work with. This is where, this is why we run Hina in the deck, is this 6 Dawn turn is just so powerful. But with him resting 1, it makes me feel pretty confident that he doesn't have it. But he does choose to potentially change his mind here. Just thinking about, what he's got going on. Asking how many cards I've got in hand, just to potentially, throw me off my game and make me think that a Perona is coming. So we will see a 5K swing. I'm not entirely sure. I believe this was going into life and not Perona, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was going into life. I do choose to get a Hina of my own, but that 5K swing, I will just counter out with Borsalino. Now we'll see a Great Eruption coming down and an Ice Age and then a Lucci to get rid of both Peronas. It doesn't feel great, but it is what it is. I'm not that upset. It's just I would have liked to keep the board pretty healthy like the way I had it, but now we've got 7 Dawn to work with. I draw into a Kuzan, so this makes me feel kind of bad because I wanted to play Kuzan, but now looking at his board, I know that I kind of have to respond, and I'm just going to go 7 into, I believe, life here, and I'm going to go ahead and trash, I think, the Kuzan, and then mill 2, getting back that Absalom to KO Lucci. I think that, you know, getting rid of the 6k swing is understandable, but at the same time, with him having potentially 8-cost Moria the following turn, that doesn't feel great to just put Lucci like right back into trash. You know, granted, it doesn't feel great to put Perona back in as well. However, you know, hey, I got to do one or the other. And now he does end up countering out of that, leaving him with 2 cards in hand. I believe draws into another 8-cost Moria, but 5k swing, I go ahead and take another 5, and I'll go ahead and use Absalom. He's getting down the Moria. This looks like a Lucci Helmeppo play for sure, and we're just going to have to answer with our own Moria. And if we do not have it, then, you know, it's time to be aggressive. Absolutely time to be aggressive. But it looks as though Brand New and more than likely Hina are going to be sent to the grave. So we're going to have a Helmeppo going down onto Hina right here, and then Lucci to KO these two. Very smart not to send back Absalom. It's just a, you know, really good answer to a lot of situations. So now I am I'm in a bit of a bind. I don't believe we have Ice Age in hand. I draw into the 8-cost Moria though, which is very nice for us in this spot. I do want to have, you know, some opportunities to deal with his 8-cost the turn after, but just not having Ice Age is forcing me to realize, like, okay, that Moria is sticking around. It's here to play. And now I know that I can't afford to leave too many characters on the board because being at 2 life and probably not playing a blocker next turn, I'm going to have to get this Perona off the board. But he's only at 2 cards in hand, so it should be pretty safe. But he counters out with Sabo. This was like, I don't know. I took this moment and just got really excited and happy about it because I was for sure thinking that if he had Sabo, we were in a really rough spot. That potentially the turn after with him using leader effect into Sabo. But countering out with it right there was actually massive for us. I'm going to go ahead and return a few. I end up picking up Ice Age off of Brand New and getting a couple of cards into trash using Absalom to KO that Lucci. And now we're just going to pass it back over. I didn't get rid of the Helmeppo, which is arguably a good thing and a bad thing. But, you know, my opponent not having Helmeppo in trash for another 8-cost play is actually helpful for us. However, it is I'm still in this spot where I'm like, man, I need to get my own Sabo onto the board. Like, obviously playing 8-cost always feels good, but as soon as he turns his Gecko Moria sideways, I have to answer by playing defensively, clearing board, and then hopefully like 2 Sabos in a row at this stage of the game usually just kind of wins you the match. But we see a 3 with the Helmeppo going into Brand New. I was actually considering countering it out because I know that I'm more than likely going to lose at least one of these Absalom, potentially 2. But I know that I can't really afford to give him too much counter because we're lacking in hand right now. We've got enough counter to survive, but we don't have a lot of counter for you know, defending our characters the following turn. I do take this and we end up getting a Helmeppo of our own. We're going to see a 7k swing. This is actually really nice because I needed to get Helmeppo into trash anyways. So I do counter out with Suru and Helmeppo. Oh, I actually decided to swap that up. I actually go with Brand New instead and keep the Helmeppo. Interesting. Maybe that's because I have Ice Age in hand and I know that I could potentially Absalom. But we're just going to see a Kuzan into a Brand New. I like this because he's up in life, looking really good on board, and it allows him to get 2 cards into hand, which is just fantastic. And he is going to choose to use, I believe, Brand New effect first. And we were talking about this after the match, I believe, but I think that it's best to go with Kuzan effect first, because if you go with Kuzan, then you at least have information of what you do have, and then you can go into the Brand New afterwards. So going off of Kuzan, you basically go with, all right, now I know for sure what I have, and I can pick up a piece based off of, you know, what I guaranteed got, versus picking up a piece and then drawing into something random. I do think the order of that is pretty important sometimes. Maybe all the time. All right, so we do have a pretty important turn. My opponent picked up 2 cards there, so he's sitting on 3. I know that I have to get rid of this Gecko Moria, but I'm also in a bit of a weird spot where I do potentially die next turn, so I have to play Sabo more than likely over Gecko Moria. I suppose there is a, like, with the Borsellino being in trash, I probably could just go Gecko Moria into Borsellino if I'm able to clear enough, but that is that's tough. It's a tough call. I'm like trying to, in my head, like wrap around going maybe like 10 or 11 into the Gecko Moria, but I want to bait out and see what he's got for potential answers first. I'm taking my time here. I just want to see like what is the best route in my head. Like, how do we go about not only playing defensively, but removing enough of the board that we can survive the next turn. And I know that a 5 check to life is probably the route that I'm going to go here. Just swing with Absalom, see what he does. If he reacts to that, then we start going for board. If he does take life, then we might just inch a little bit closer. I'm second guessing my decisions here. I really am kind of like taking a turn, but you know, we had plenty of time. We had like 20 minutes left in the match, so it was like, hey, if you want to, you know, really do your best and, you know, practice for high stakes situations, then, you know, on the most important turns, you definitely have to. But I go 5 to life. He does counter out with Absalom. This makes me feel kind of good because I know that I only have 2 cards left in hand to deal with, and I know that more than likely I can get over the Gecko Moria, but I'm going to play Sabo first just to see what I can pick up. I know that I'm going to need some answers. I have a lot of counter power in hand, but I also have a couple of cards that are just really useful, but not having any counter power whatsoever. I do decide to get rid of the Ice Age and the Gecko Moria. I know that looks a little crazy, but knowing what I have in hand, I'm actually kind of okay with it. So I am just going to go 11, yes, 11 into his Moria, which luckily gets through. I didn't want to dedicate too much, and I also get to use my leader effect here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we're going to go 6 with lead, and now I can trash another and probably pick back up like a Dr. Hogback, getting, yep, yeah, just picking up a 2k counter if I'm not mistaken. So, yep, looks like we pick up Perona, returning a couple events to the hand, and I'll just go ahead and pass. We have plenty of counter power. We've got the Sabo to stay potentially healthy here. It kind of forces my opponent into a weird situation where they might have to go for game. If he doesn't go for game, then he's got to do a pretty dang good job board clearing. And yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. Like, we got the Sabo in the end game, which was super crucial. And that's why when he did counter out with that Sabo earlier on in the match, I felt like a sigh of relief, because I knew that as long as I was able to maintain, you know, my own board and not, you know, get myself into a position where I'm going to be dying anytime soon, or maybe the following turn, then I know that Sabo can basically stall me out one turn, and then I can get right back into it. Kuzan is a bit of a problem in dealing with, you know, a lot of my board, but luckily Sabo is just the answer in this matchup. And now I'm looking over my trash, but we're talking about how Sabo effect is not on the Gecko Moria. Oh, shoot. Oh, I forgot about this. So about like 30 seconds ago, whenever I used my leader effect, I actually forgot to mill 2. And we were talking about that, how I forgot to mill 2. We said it wasn't like extremely relevant to the current situation, but we do want to try and like play this as best as possible without making mistakes. And, you know, mistakes happen. It's always good to get them out at the local level, so that, you know, you're not getting any of the issues, you know, in like a high stakes tournament. But we do just go ahead and mill 2 off the top right there, just to say, hey, we got it. And I'm almost guaranteeing that that someone is going to be watching this. They'll see that happen. They'll comment before they get to this point in the video and then realize, oh, shoot, they did end up clarifying that issue. So I'm looking forward to that comment. Yeah, but now my opponent's definitely going deep into the think tank here. Trying to think like, okay, with the hand that I have, what kind of options do I have? It looks as though he has a Borsalino in hand. If he does have Dr. Hogback in trash, he could at least pick back up some counter. The Lucci is looking absolutely worthless in his hand right now. It's just super dead. And yeah, he's got a lot to get through. It's either you're going for game or you know, you're either going for game right now or you're blocking up pretty heavy and just taking care of some of the 5Ks. So maybe he'll go the same route as, oh, interesting. So we're going to see an 11 into my own Gecko Moria. I definitely have enough to get out of this in hand, which is nice because in order for him to dedicate a lot of Dawn to getting rid of Moria, it's going to be very tough. And so we choose to trash a Helmeppo as well as a Perona to get out of that 11k swing right there. This does leave him with 8 Dawn, so I'm thinking like, okay, is he going to Gecko here into like a blocker, which I guess arguably could be one of his, you know, I guess his best play right now. But I feel like Sabo is just so crucial here. But oh dang, you hate to see it. He does have a Rebecca in hand. I think I could be wrong, but I think a better option would have been to maybe swing 5 with Kuzan, 6 with lead, and 9 with Moria. Get rid of some of my board if possible, or just even go into life and then play Rebecca into Sabo. And now you just have your whole board protected from KO effects, 2 blockers, 2 life. It's going to be very tough for me to get through. That would probably stall out the game 1 extra turn, maybe. It's a tough call. But if he does use Rebecca into Borsalino here, I have pretty solid opportunity to get rid of the Rebecca. So, oh shoot, is he going to dedicate 5 to Kuzan? 5 to Kuzan into the Moria, lowering Dr. Hogback. But unfortunate for him, we've got plenty of 2Ks in hand. So pretty rough. I think that was a tough commit. That was a tough commit. But he does choose to trash the Lucci using leader effect to get Absalom. It does KO my Dr. Hogback because it is susceptible right now, not having been played before Sabo. But at the same time, everything else is protected, and now he is going 6 into Absalom, and we have another 2K counter. I don't even think we needed to save that, if I'm being completely honest with you, but no blockers, 2 life, 3 cards in hand. I mean, I think we just math win here, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to attach 2 to Absalom. I'm going to swing 7. Yeah, he's got a couple of cards, but he's definitely in a spot. So he does take this. I'm going to go 9 with Gecko Moria. He is going to take that, and I'll put the rest on lead. And we do end up getting the game. Solid match, though. I do think that this match had like a lot of learning moments. If you guys, you know, have played enough of the mirror matchup, then you know some of these, you know, turns and some of these important moments. But if you haven't, there's definitely a lot to learn. There's just like certain turns where it just kind of sucks. You think Gecko Moria is always the answer, but it doesn't end up being every single time. Yeah. But hope you guys enjoyed the match. I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. And yet again, if you guys do enjoy the content, consider checking out the sponsor in the description below. I really appreciate you guys for supporting me through watching the videos, but also checking out the streams. And I'll catch y'all on the next one, all right? Peace.